So we've come here to do a waste sort at the Recycling and Surplus Center. So what they're doing is a series of audits of campus buildings. So what they do is they take a sample from a dumpster from one of the buildings, we dump it out on the floor, and then we go through those and see what percentage of the waste that's in there could have been recycled. So it's dumped on the floor. The students are looking for mixed paper, office paper, plastic, metal, cardboard, and then we put them in containers and then weigh them. So then they've weighed all the waste that was in the dumpster, and then they'll weigh the plastic, the paper, and so forth to figure out what percentage of the waste could have been recycled. And then the information that comes from that then goes back to figure out what kind of information do we share with the people in the building to say, hey, you know what, maybe people don't realize that you can recycle cardboard, and where's the best place? Or maybe it's because where they put the recycling containers aren't conducive for people using it. So it helps to diagnose, basically, how can we improve our recycling system on campus.
I think today is really cool too, because I just didn't know like what's behind closed doors kind of thing. I mean, you hear recycling, but you don't really understand like what goes into it, I think. And so I just feel like a lot of kids on campus, they hear be Spartan Green all the time, but it's interesting to see actually what goes on.
Yeah, I mean, we joke about in education about hands-on learning. Well, this is hands-on learning, and so and from doing this last semester, the students really talked about this being a really pivotal moment in the class. That it's one thing to talk about recycling and systems thinking and all these things, but to actually visually see, oh my gosh, this is how much waste could have been recycled. And so when you individually think about, well, I have something and I kind of toss it in the trash can because I was a little too lazy to go around the corner, you can sort of dismiss that. But then when you're confronted with, oh my gosh, and so a lot of the students that they went right back to their dorm room or their office or their building, and they told people, gosh, you should have seen what we did. Look at all the waste that we have. One, there's waste in general, but two, a lot of it could have been recycled. What are we going to do to help make it better? So it's a nice hands-on visual way for students to sort of get, we can talk about it all we want, but the visual experience, the whole aesthetic experience of it really seems to make a difference to students.
My roommate told me, she said, I've always been interested in the environment, but I just don't know how to get involved. So I think that communicating and getting the word out there is like the most important step, because people really do care. I mean, they may not think about it every day. It's not like on the top of their to-do list. A lot of people, especially my generation, are kind of me. But I think that, deep down, everyone does really care about the environment. And people love animals and wildlife and, going out, to the ocean and stuff. And I think, especially in the Great Lakes state, people really do care about what's going on around us.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, really, what we hope is that people recognize that we can make a difference here at MSU. It's not that difficult, but also the role of data. So we really try to get people to understand we're at a research university. Let's collect some information. We talk to students about systems thinking. And the big part is collect your information, see how you think you understand the system, get some more information, plug it back into the system, and then say, where in the system can we make a change? And then take that information and do it. And a lot of what we talk about is that it's not just about the ecological aspect. It's one thing to say, well, if we recycle paper, we don't have to cut down trees. Okay, but now how do we go about doing that and affecting change in the system? And I think that's really what we want to impart to students, that they can make a difference. They are doing it now by doing this little pilot study, but then they are also, as part of class, responsible for then paying back and saying, all right, now that we know this information, let's participate on campus and see if we can make a difference. And students are really excited about the opportunity that we give them to say, hey, we can make a difference, you can, let's go ahead and do it.
This Greening of the Great Lakes vodcast is produced by Michigan State University and News Talk 760 WJR for MLive.com.